everybody. Welcome to ABA Inside Track, the podcast that's like reading in your car, but safer. I'm your host, Robert Perry Cruz, and with me, as always, are my fabulous co-hosts.
Hey, Rob, it's me, Diana Perry Cruz. Hello.
That is me, Jackie McDonald.
And this is a podcast about behavior analysis and behavior analytic research, where every week we pick a topic and discuss it at length, except for weeks like this, which are at the end of the month for our Patreon supporters and at the beginning of the month for everyone listening on the free feed. And this is when we do our previews of what to look forward to in the coming month. And this is our June 2025 preview. So we've got summer vacation to look forward to, which is so exciting. We have all...
Some people do.
I mean, if you're here in our hemisphere, it's probably summer vacation.
Not for me. I'm still
Not
working.
everyone has summer vacation.
Well, it's summer vacation in the sense of
summer
vacation is happening for children.
It's summer because I actually work more in the summer than I do most other semesters.
It's still summer vacation period. Let's let people dream. I'm going to be angry about summer and ruin everyone's time. It's summer vacation. We can all dream, can't we? That we get time off, we can relax, the pace slows down a bit, and we still put out a podcast episode every single week. So let's start by describing what our podcast episodes will be for the month of June.
Okay, so we have 3 different episodes that we will be bringing to you in the month of June. The first one is about IOA. We've talked about procedural integrity before, but we had never talked about IOA, so we have a whole episode devoted to it. And you will be pleased to know that there are 4 articles that we will be reviewing in the context of this topic. They include Effects of a Supervisory Intervention on Assessment of Interobserver Agreement by Educational Service Providers by Garrity, Luiselli, and McCollum. And that was in Behavior Interventions 2008. Also, Assessing Interobserver Agreement, IOA, with Procedural Integrity. Evaluation of Training Methods Among Classroom Instructors by Hartz, Gould, Harper, and Luiselli. And that was in Child and Family Behavior Therapy 2020.
You said that more Scottish than Barbara Walters. 2020.
And I said there were 4, but there's actually 3. And the last one is Interobserver Agreement, a preliminary investigation into how much is enough by Hausman, Javed, Bednar, Guell, Schaller, Nevill, and Kahng. And that was in the Journal of Applied Behavior Analysis 2022. Was that better?
Yes, thank you.
Great. Next up, we have a summer grab bag for you, but this is a special grab bag because it's an ethics grab bag, which we've never done before.
I think all the grab bags are special.
This one's extra special then, and it's titled Ethics Time with an exclamation point on the end. We each chose an ethics article at random out of the ethics grab bag, and they include the ethical obligations, barriers, and solutions for interprofessional collaboration in the treatment of autistic individuals by Henderson, Ludden, and Romero. That was in Behavior Analysis and Practice 2023. Promoting ethical and evidence-based practice through a panel review process, a case study in implementation research by Logue, Husti, Toby, and Outlaw. And that was in Behavior Analysis and Practice 2023. And finally, Teaching a Behavior Analyst to Address Unethical Behavior, Developing Evidence-Based Ethics Instructional Methods by Schreck, Ivy, and Zane, and published in Behavior Analysis and Practice 2023. We went heavy on that episode, on that issue, apparently. Okay, and then finally, we have one more upcoming episode for June, and that is another in our tutorial series. This one is about working with an interpreter. We have 3 articles we will discuss here, and they include Delivering Culturally Sound and High-Quality Behavior Analytic Services When Working with an Interpreter by Dowdy, Clarkson, Obidemuller, Tinkani, and Travers, and that was in Behavior Analysis Research and Practice 2021. Family Members' Experiences in the Use of Interpreters in Healthcare by Hadziabdik, Albin, Haikila, and Helm, and that was in Primary Healthcare Research and Development 2014. And Training Behavior Analysis Graduate Students to Work with an Interpreter by Vasquez, Shago, and McCarville. And that was Behavior Analysis in Practice 2024.
Excellent. So those are 3 episodes.
Much research.
Soon. Coming out just this month. Whether you're on a vacation on the beach, whether you're working harder than ever, you got 3 episodes no matter what. All right. Well, the other thing we do on our preview episodes is have a little errata section of the show where we talk about all sorts of other things going on. And usually we've got all sorts of funny activities and we got emails and all sorts of good stuff. However, we're doing something a little different because we realized that we've got 2 giant polls that we need to get out to you, the listener. One of them is for our summer listener's choice poll, and one of them is our 2025 to 2026 book club poll. So for the second year in a row, we are going to be laying out all of our book club choices for the entire year and then asking listeners to vote on what books they want to read. They'll be able to pick 3 books because we already know what we're doing for Supervision. We'll tell you what that is in a little bit for Supervision September. And then every season, we will have another book. So if you are interested in voting and choosing any of these, either our summer listener choice episode or having a say in what books will be read throughout the entire year, well, you better join us on patreon.com/ABA Inside Track. So let's start with the listener choice episodes that we have. So we have 3 topics here. And if you're on the Patreon feed, you have until next Friday to choose your favorite choice.
Not long.
It's not, well, next Friday. They got like a week and a half.
Yeah, get on it.
If you're listening to this on the free feed, you got like 2 days. So you either have to go, so you got to decide to join on Patreon, and then you have to vote. So you don't have a lot of time left if you're on the free feed. So we have 3 topics, one chosen by each of us. I'm not going to say who chose what. The fun game is guessing which of us chose which topic. But the 3 topics are motivational interviewing, factors influencing the efficiency of acquisition, and person-centered planning. All right, and all 3 of those topics, we have relevant articles that we kind of are already thinking of for those topics. So whichever one you pick, we got an episode to make, and that'll be out in, when is that out, Jackie? Do you have the schedule? It's either July or August, I think.
Hold on. It is out in August.
August. That's right. So that'll come out in August. So you have to vote now, though, because we have a lot of things we have to prep for July and into August. And not all of us have a vacation.
That's right, Rob. That's right. Not all of us get to rest and relax.
Don't have time to look at polls. We don't have time to pick articles. We gotta know what they are ahead of time. All right. So again, motivational interviewing, factors influencing the efficiency of acquisition, and person-centered planning. And again, you have possibly a week and a half, but if this is the free feed, oh boy, if it's the first week of June, you got 2 days. So you have to really decide, are you going to be a Patreon supporter and vote, or are you just going to throw caution to the wind and then be mad when people pick the topic that you didn't want to hear about? I
almost want to become a Patreon member so I can vote on the books that I want to read. I have been thinking about this for a while.
It's not a bad idea.
Well, if we all do that, it'll just cancel itself out.
You won't know. I'll go under a different pseudonym. It'll be like pickjackiesbook.com or something like that.
All right, so that is our first poll. Our second poll, so if you, again, on the Patreon page, our poll is not out quite yet. It's going to come out at the end of the week. So we'll have that starting this weekend. If you're listening on the free feed, the poll will have just come out, so you'll have access to it. And that'll be open for, a little bit longer because there's a lot more choices to make. So it'll be open for about a week for folks on the free feed too. So you have a little more time to decide. We have more time too on that because we're not going to actually get to any of those books until winter time. So we got a little bit more time on that poll, but not too long because we want people to vote. So we want to know which books we have for the year. So we did this a little differently last year. We're excited to do it again this year. We are picking our supervision book for September because there are a lot of supervision books that are either non-behavior analytic or look very boring. So we decided to pick that one, and we'll tell you what that is in a little bit. But
what?
Our supervision book.
We didn't pick a boring one.
No, we didn't. That's why we chose it. We didn't put it on the list. We didn't want to risk it.
No, we picked you guys a good one.
We picked a good one. Let's just do it. What's our supervision September choice, Diana? You want to tell everybody?
It's called Oops, I Did It Again.
By Britney Spears.
It just says Oops.
That's Oops. 13 management practices that waste time and money and what to do instead.
There it is.
Yes.
That's the one. And we chose that because it's by the late, great Dr. Aubrey Daniels.
Yes. And also because when we had a choice to pick of his books that we had not already done on the show, Diana said, Everybody loves books with lists in them. So we thought that'll be a good one.
Yeah. Yep. So we're doing it.
I thought I already owned this book. I thought I had this book signed by Aubrey.
No?
Well, I own it now, but actually I had gotten it signed by Aubrey Daniels at one of the first Mass ABBA conferences, and we gave it to your dad as a present. So your dad has a signed Aubrey Daniels
Pop Pop's
book.
house.
We do not.
Okay.
We do not.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
well.
very sad passing of Aubrey Daniels this past year, but we wanted to honor his legacy with this book club.
We have a copy of Bringing Out the Best in People, signed by your dad, who gave it to you as
That's
a
right.
present.
Yes, that people can hear about that when they listen to that episode.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry, we've only got so many anecdotes, folks. You can hear them again later. All right, so that is our September book club. But for the rest of the year, we got 3 months. We got a winter, we got a spring, and we got next summer that we'll be doing. So 2026 summer. And each of us, me, Jackie, Diana, and book club guy Alan Haberman, picked 3 books that we thought you would like. And we are going to roll. I'm going to roll my 4-sided die to see who is going to share the 3 books they are putting out as their choices for book clubs. You don't have to vote in like a block, it's not like a voting block situation.
Right.
You can pick any of these 12 books to vote for, but we're going to do it by which of the hosts picked those books and a little bit of why. All right, so I'll be number 1 because that's where my mic is. Diana, you're 2 because that's where your mic is. Jackie, you're 3. That's where your mic is. And Alan will be 4 because that's the last mic spot left. So here we go. Who's going first? It's me, number 1.
Of course it is.
course.
I got to
it
go
is.
first. Do you want me to roll again?
No.
Everyone's mad because everyone picked my books last year. I think 2 out of 3 of mine were picked last year. Let's see if I can get a repeat. So I have picked 3 books. My book choices are The Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haidt, Adventures in Special Education and Applied Behavior Analysis by Merrill Winston, and Rebooting Capitalism by Anthony Biglin. And I chose these books for a couple of reasons. One, The Anxious Generation, I actually had read that. I usually pick books I've never read, but I read this one as a sort of study with other educators in the public school district I work with, and we all found it to be very interesting. There was a lot of research behind it, and it sort of supported, I think, some ideas that many of us probably have been thinking about or worrying about, and it put some real data and sort of steps one could take to allay some of the fears about, kids growing up today and those damn cell phones and social media. So I think it's a very relevant topic, and I think it's a very easy to read book. So I think that would be a good one. Adventures in Special Education and Applied Behavior Analysis. I think we all have sort of different opinions of Merrill Winston's sort of presentation style. I think some folks think he gets a little too silly. I think some folks think he's really silly and fun to listen to, but he has a real great history working in school systems. And he has a very clear perspective, which comes out in the book he wrote about, being a behavior analyst in various settings. I have not read that book, but I've had it for a while and I've skimmed it a few times. And so it does have a lot of cool anecdotes as well as really actionable steps. And I think we've talked a lot about schools, so I think this is a good kind of summary of many of the topics we've discussed on the show before.
Is it the sequel to Adventures in Babysitting?
No, but
Dishes are done, man.
that's Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's
You know
Dead,
what?
Jackie.
Whatever. Nobody would have gotten the reference anyway.
You know,
That's right.
if we get, and I'm going to say, if we get enough Patreon people signing up for the Patreon just to listen to vote on the book club, maybe we'll even do an Adventures in Babysitting bonus episode. Who knows? And then finally,
Wow.
Rebooting Capitalism by Anthony Biglin. We really loved The Nurture Effect, and I'd purchased this book around that time because I thought that's an interesting idea because I think there's a lot of problems with I love capitalism, right? I'm an American, but I think there's a lot of problems with how capitalism is done these days. And boy, oh boy, does the current political climate really make me think there are a lot of problems with how capitalism is done today. So I'm very curious to hear Dr. Biglin's thoughts on the matter. So those are my 3 options. You'll get to vote whether you like any of them or all of them, perhaps. Who knows? But let's see. Who's going next? Next is Diana, number 2.
Number 2. It's me. Okay. I have picked 3 books.
Surprise, surprise.
Because
I know.
that's what we're doing right now.
That was what I was told to do. They include Uniquely Human, A Different Way of Seeing Autism by Dr. Barry Prezant, The Autistic Brain. Sorry, I can't see the whole title in my little slideshow here. The Autistic Brain, Thinking Across the Spectrum by Dr. Temple Grandin, and The Disengaged Teen, Helping Kids Learn Better, Feel Better, and Live Better by, I'm sorry, I actually don't know. I gave doctor the other 2. I'm not sure. Jenny Anderson and Rebecca Winthrop, they also may be doctors. I'm not sure. Why did I choose these books? I chose Uniquely Human because I teach this book in my class. I think it provides a important additional perspective outside of the ABA world on how we can provide the best educational services for students with autism. The Autistic Brain, I enjoy Dr. Temple Grandin's work, and I think she's quite funny. And I also think it's really important that we hear directly from neurodivergent folks if we're talking about autism. And then The Disengaged Teen, I think is maybe potentially going to cover some similar ground as The Anxious Generation, but I think that that's okay. And, Rob and I parent teenagers, so we're very interested in these topics.
Yeah, the first one's going to be going off to college in the near future. We totally messed up there, so we're like, we got to read some other books before, the others. We got to catch up. We're
All
really
right,
behind.
Roll it.
Okay, here we go. It is Alan. And Alan,
I'll do.
If you're waiting for Alan, yes. If you're waiting for Alan, we originally were going to record this with Alan because he is actually coming up to New England, and we are going to be doing some in-person recordings. But we realized we did not schedule that. Everything didn't schedule at the same time. So he was kind enough to send us his picks and his reasons. So yes, Diana, would you please?
Yep. He has 3 recommendations for us. The Empire of Normality. Sorry, hang on. Neurodiversity and Capitalism by Robert Chapman. The Extinction of Experience, Being Human in a Disembodied World by Christine Rosen. And Unmasking Autism, Discovering the New Faces of Neurodiversity by Devin Price. You want me to read his reasons?
If you could.
Maybe summarize them.
Yep, I'm going to try to summarize these. Briefly, Unmasking Autism. Many people have probably heard of this book. It's pretty popular out there. And he said, among autistic and ADHD advocates and influencers. And that is a good reason to read it. A lot of people have read it in the past, although I haven't. It's been on my shelf for a while, so
Yeah, me too.
I want to read it. So that might be a good one. The Extinction of Experience. He notes that this one is talking about social media once again. So we have like 3 different social media books on here. Effect on individuals and society. So that's what that one is largely about. And then The Empire of Normality is written by a queer and neurodivergent person who's navigated higher education successfully. So that also sounds quite interesting. So those are Alan Book Club Guy's recommendations.
Yes. And we won't go into, we'll let Alan, if these books come out, if these books get chosen, of course, they all have, I think, Alan's trademark, both of interest and some things he really wants to debate about the book.
Yeah.
So if you definitely want to get Alan, ready to go and like talking about both intelligently a book and also, and here's some reasons, problems I have with the book, which I think he does amazingly, way better than I do with books. I'm like, what's that guy who's like, I give I just give everything 2 thumbs up. I feel I'm an easy read. I'm like, you wrote a book. Good for you. I loved it.
Yeah, Alan's not going to stop there.
No.
He's like, well.
That's great. And I've gotten lazier in reading books because I'm like, well, one of you guys will be mad at the book. All right. And I don't need to roll the die, Jack. You're the only
This is
one
also
left.
not true because Rob writes like 20 pages of notes, by the way,
That's
everyone.
true. He rolled the die.
It worked out.
Oh, wow.
You never even had to re-roll.
I read the books. I just...
No, that's what I just said.
Oh.
You write so much notes.
Yeah.
So much.
I read so much.
Much notes on these books.
And most of them are like,
all right,
loved
Jackie,
it.
go.
Okay, so the books that I wanted to read are Atomic Habits by James Clear, Autism's False Prophet by Dr. Paul Offitz.
Ooh.
And
Did he plan to rhyme it when he wrote the title?
I know.
Oh, I don't know, maybe. And Enjoy Old Age by our own lovable pal, Dr. B.F. Skinner.
Mm-hmm.
And why I chose these books.
Everyone's favorite curmudgeon.
So I chose Atomic Habits because it is a #1 bestseller. Tons of people read it. They do reference behavior analysis, and it's full disclosure. I have read this book, but I think it would be a really fascinating book to read behavior analytically, right? Because it's all about goals and how you set goals and how goals can be, how you can, stick with your goals. And he writes very behavior analytically but also in the beginning, there's a whole chapter that he's quite incorrect with behavior analysis. So I just think that would be a fun a fun book. It was a
Does
fun
he get
book for me
negative
to read.
reinforcement wrong?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So pick that one. We're going to tear him a new one.
And it's an easy book to read. The chapters aren't very long, and each chapter has like a thing you can do in it. So if you're looking for like a book to read with us that also will
Like a craft?
Yeah, no, like here's your next step in creating your goals. Now do it. Right? So I just like that when I read self-help books like that.
Yeah.
I always will choose Autism False Prophets until we read it because I think it's like an important book for people to read and talk
right
about.
now, very topical.
Right? Very topical with, the whole
It's about vaccines.
It's called Vaccines Cause Autism debate, right? I think it's just a really important book for behavior analysts to read and understand. It goes through a lot of historical context, and I would love to see an update.
I mean, Jackie, I'd be worried, though, because according to a director of Health and Human Services, we're going to know the truth about autism and vaccines by September. So this book might be coming too late, this discussion.
We already do.
Rob is being facetious.
I know. And
Do you think anyone listened to that and was like, I think Rob is very serious?
I'm just making sure it's really clear.
And so the last book, Enjoy Old Age by B.F. Skinner, this book is a gem of a book. So I've not fully read it in its entirety, but I got it for a present once from my husband for Christmas, and he got it at a bookstore.
Was it like tongue-in-cheek?
No, he was just like, you would probably love this book. And I was like, I actually do. And it's got like the one thing I love to think about is Skinner's like, getting old sucks. And it's like a lot of things suck, but here's how you can make it better. And he like transforms how we think about getting old into behavior analytic terminology to make it more enjoyable. And I just love that idea that we can think of any idea that we have in our society and then transform it into behavior analytic terminology. So I just think it would be a fun book to read and discuss.
Yeah. I actually gave that book as a present to someone, and it was kind of hard to find for a little while.
It is pretty hard, yeah.
But
our library has it.
Yeah, I think it came back in. They made some more printable copies, yeah, because I was able to find it another time. All right, so we got 12 different books. So you are going to have at the time of this, the time of this recording, the poll will be out. If you're on the Patreon feed, it'll be out in a few days. For everyone else, it will already be out, and you're going to have like a little over a week to fill this one out, and I'll also drop kind of a little bumper or whatever in the podcast feed to let everyone know. Remind you, hey, we're going to vote. You only got a couple days left because we do want to have as many people as possible vote on our books, because the more people who have a say in our books, I think the better our choices will be and the more people will want to listen to them.
Specifically, I want people to vote for my books.
Yes.
Same. Not Rob's book.
I mean,
Yeah,
unless you
vote
want
for
to be
me.
unless you want to be a winner and vote for my books, and I'll get a repeat of last year. I did not pick Divergent Mind. We did that last year. Whose was Divergent Mind?
I think it was
Must have been
Is it
Alan's.
Alan's? Okay.
None of mine ever get chosen.
Yeah, mine neither.
What does that tell you about your choices?
You know what? Get out of this room.
All right.
We
Well,
gotta leave
No,
this
it's
room.
yours.
We've been here for 2.5 hours.
we got to wrap it up. All right. So we got 2 polls. We got all sorts of episodes coming out this June. Very exciting. Getting ready for the nice weather and then moving on into a new year of podcasting. We'll be back next week with the first of those new episodes. And again, don't forget to vote. Patreon.com/ABA Inside Track.
for Diana.
But it's not. I'm not going to put names on this one. That's why you listen to this episode. There's going to be a list of books. All right. And we'll be back next week with the first episode. But until then, keep responding. Bye.
Bye.